Congratulations.
Mike, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Joe. Thank
Welcome
you,
to
Joe.
Lansdale Rural Arts Chapter 301.
My
I have
pleasure.
a donation check of $400 for
Oh,
you.
awesome. Thank you all. Thank you all.
This is my
will go.
this is my gift for the year for you. It's a nice little flashlight.
Oh, nice. You use it well. Go right in the glove compartment.
Take it away, Mike.
Yeah,
Thanks for doing
thank
it.
you. No, and like I was saying earlier, I really appreciate, as a member of this great country, the work that you all do for the community. So thank you for that. In the house, some of you guys may know it, some of you may not. So the house was founded in 1974, and being a proud Philadelphian, it's the first Ronald McDonald house in the world. So Philadelphia has a ton of firsts, and the Ronald McDonald House is one of them. So you can't mention the Ronald McDonald House, Philadelphia, without mentioning the Philadelphia Eagles. That's really the history of it, right? 1974, Ken Hill, the wide receiver for the Eagles, daughter came down with leukemia. So back then, yes, the owner said to the general manager, Jimmy Murray, who just passed away recently, Jimmy, what can we do to help Ken Hill? He was a wide receiver for the Eagles. So Ken Hill, at that point, daughter's in the hospital, Children's Hospital, Philadelphia. Ken and his wife are sleeping on lounge chairs, recliners. You know, they have nowhere, they just want to spend as much time as they can with their daughter. So Leonard Toast of the Eagles said to Jimmy Murray, what can we do to help? So Jimmy Murray said, well, let me find out, Leonard. So Jimmy Murray went to Dr. Audrey Evans, who was also the co-founder of the Ronald McDonald House, and said, Dr. Evans, what can the Eagles do to help your situation here? So Dr. Evans said, basically the families need a place to stay, especially when they're being treated with cancer, because it's a long-term treatment. So we could really use some type of house or lodging for the families. So Leonard Toast, he went back to Leonard Toast, and Leonard Toast said, you know, how much money are we looking at, Jimmy Murray? Audrey Evans shoots for the moon, and said, you know, $1 million, right? $1 million a house. And plus there were some other things that Dr. Evans wanted to do, sterile rooms, but the house was part of the whole package. So Jimmy Murray's like $1 million. Leonard's like, Jimmy, you gotta do it. So at that point, Jimmy Murray was friends with the marketing director of McDonald, Ed Renzi. So he goes, Ed, you know, what can McDonald's do to help? And hence the name of the Ronald McDonald House. So Ed Renzi goes to Jimmy Murray, well, with the Shamrock Shakes coming up, that was the kickoff of that, McDonald's are willing to give all proceeds to you if you name the house the Ronald McDonald House. So Jimmy Murray's like, well, naming anything, man, I need to start, I need to raise all this money. So that's hence how the house became named the Ronald McDonald House. So like I said, that was 1974. The first house was only 8 rooms. It was in University City, Spruce Street. But it allowed these families, and their children being treated, to at least have a lodging place to stay, right? But back then, a lot of it was only 8 rooms, so a lot of it was Philadelphia based. So that's, like I said, that's kind of a brief history. Like I said, again, if it wasn't for the Philadelphia Eagles and Leonard Toast was very philanthropic, very easy to give money away. Jimmy Murray, like I said, they did other events to get to the dollar amount they needed to get to, but the McDonald's Corporation really stepped up, and hence, like I said, the Ronald McDonald House is still thriving today. Like I said, so what does the house really do for the families? That's the important thing. So what the house does for the families, it provides lodging, food, and transportation, and social services, emotional support. Currently, the house on Chestnut Street, there's 2 houses in the Philadelphia region. The house on Chestnut Street is 127 rooms. The house on Erie Avenue in North Philly is 20 rooms. So the house in Philadelphia, downtown, that's really attached to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, right? Which Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, if not the best, it's one of the top 2 or 3 pediatric hospitals in the world. So hence you can see how important the house is with 127 rooms because there's always such a high demand. Sadly, we're turning families away every night at this point, which is sad. because really the real issue is with CHOP, and as you know, the medical advancements, the demand is just going to continue to increase. There's procedures happening now that probably didn't even exist 5 years ago. So it's really a magnet hospital. I drive a van down there, part of my volunteer work, so I get to talk to people from all over the world. And basically in a lot of cases, CHOP is the last ditch effort. They're from Arizona, the doctor said, we've done all we can for your child. Go to Philadelphia. So it really provides a viable and just put yourself in the shoes of the family members where you're living in Arizona. First of all, you're gutted because your child's sick in itself, right? That's enough trauma to deal with emotionally. Then if we were to go to Philadelphia, we could be there for 3 months. What are we going to do? So the house really comes in and provides just a safety net for these families who are, they have to take FMLA, leave their jobs, they have to move to a place they've never been before. And so just picture the financial strain of, emotional strain of your sick child, and then you have the financial strain of, I have lodging, food, I could be there 3 months, 6 months, who knows how long I'm going to be there for. So the house really provides, like I said, again, a safety net. We ask for $25 a night, but that's just, the cost is about $165 at least per night. We ask for a donation of $25 a night. 60% of the people do not pay because they can't afford it. But like I said, there's hot meals. They have a commercial kitchen in there. Like I said, primarily talking about the Chestnut Street house because that's the house with 127 rooms. So it's just picture a hotel, but only you feed the families, right? So what they do, I also volunteer in the kitchen. So what we do with the food is generally maybe about, a lot of the families aren't there at dinner time. Dinner time's from 6 to 7, so we feed who's ever there, and then we make takeout containers, because families are over the Children's Hospital all night long, right? I mean, we run a shuttle from 5:30 in the morning till 12 at night. Like I said, I'm a volunteer van driver also. Now from the house to Children's Hospital's maybe only 1.5 miles, but it can take 15 minutes with traffic. If anybody's been in University City down there, that quadrant where Children's Hospital is, I'm a lifelong Philadelphian. That area has just blown up. I mean, it's really amazing. All the, it's all medically based. Like I said, so we provide the lodging, obviously the food, transportation, and also we can't forget the emotional support. We have social workers, and also what I witness is the emotional support. A lot of times it's the mothers, the fathers are not there, they're home working, whatever, so it's typically mothers or grandmothers, a lot of grandmothers. And I've seen it myself many times is, they meet each other, and then they give each other emotional support. Oh, why are you here? What? So it's really, really pivotal. The transportation in the van, which I witnessed many times, just in the 10, 15-minute drive, these people just start having conversations, and then they know each other, and then, because when you're in a situation like that, emotional support is critical, right? Dr. Evans said, a sick child is a sick family. So, the house really tries to pull together and cover every need. And when I say every need, toiletries, when they come in the house, we want to make sure you have no worries about lodging, food. There's a lot of emotional support. Like I said, there's 2 locations, 127 rooms on Chestnut Street, 20 rooms over in North Philly. Now, like I said, Chestnut Street is attached to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. The Erie Avenue location, 20 rooms, is attached to St. Christopher's and also Shriners Hospital. So the smaller house kind of deals with orthopedic surgeries. And that can be, I volunteer there a little bit too, is that can be really extensive because if somebody needs, generally if they have really severe orthopedic issues, they don't go in and correct it with one surgery. It's a series of surgeries. They tweak it, they tweak it, they tweak it. So I've seen people there for a year, from Africa, or just, it's pretty amazing. Again, I'm a proud Philadelphian. Our level of care started in the colonial days and it continues today. And I think Philadelphia is the mecca of the medical research. University of Pennsylvania, CHOP. So again, I'm a proud Philadelphian, and when you see these people all over the world come there, because we have the best doctors, I hear that so many times. So many times. Again, we have the two houses, and then we have family rooms. So Children's Hospital Philadelphia has 2 family rooms. It's a little respite where if you're there all day, 12, 15 hours looking after your child, it's just a little oasis. CHOP has 2 rooms. St. Chris's Hospital has 1 room. The house on Erie Avenue with the 20 rooms, they're tied into St. Chris's and Shriners, but the house on Chestnut Street is where it's happening. I mean, the average stay on Chestnut Street is almost 19 nights. That's average. I can tell you worldwide, this first house was in Philadelphia, second house was in Chicago, and early on in 74, 75, 76, the NFL stepped in. So the Eagles were the forerunner, then George Halas and the Bears got involved, and then within 4 or 5 years, almost every NFL city had a Ronald McDonald house. So they really started with the Eagles for sure, and then the NFL got involved, and now there's 390 houses around the world, which is pretty impressive.
Awesome.
They're all attached to, pediatric care. Well, like I said, 390, which is pretty impressive. Just to give you an idea of some of the numbers, between the 2 houses in Philadelphia, so we had 47,000 total room nights between the 2 houses. That's a lot. 2,500 families took advantage of the lodging and care in both houses. The van shuttle trips, 22,000 van shuttle trips. Like I said, that's critical. I'm a volunteer with that because so many people from out of town, the first question I hear generally is when they get in the van and they're new, they just got there, is this safe? Like, is this, because they hear Philly, are you dealing with people from, they could be, you know what I mean? Little town America, and it's like, is this safe? Can I walk around here? It's pretty, of course, being pro-Philadelphia, it's like, yeah, generally Philly is safe. Every major city has issues, but a lot of times it's kind of in a couple zip codes. It's not, so I tell them, yes, you're safe, you're safe. Of course, the volunteer hours down there, we really count on volunteers tremendously to offset the cost. That's 32,000 hours of the volunteers. Other programs that we have, the corporate sponsors, you guys, we have Adopt a Room, right? So a $5,000 donation, your plaque goes on the room. That's like I said, it's all charity. Adopt a Room. We have a Ronald McDonald camp. That's an oncology camp. It's a week, has 150 children plus their siblings. So they're up in the Poconos for a week. He gives them a little break. That's a pretty intensive operation because a lot of these kids are very sick. So there's doctors, nurses, social workers, the youth support staff to pull that week off. But it's really an oasis for these children, and it's good for them to get together. And generally what I see down there as a volunteer, the children obviously are really resilient, but the families are just gutted. I mean, I have children myself, and so when I first went into the house to be a volunteer, I was like, this is incredible. I mean, it's such a place that's needed. And like I said, a sick child is a sick family. That was Audrey Evans. If you get a chance to YouTube a movie, there was just a movie made about Dr. Evans. It's called Audrey's Children. Kind of gives you her whole life history. She was the forerunner of children's treatment for cancer. And she was in England, and just an amazing woman. Like I mentioned to you, Jimmy Murray, the general manager of the Eagles in 1974, he hired Dick Vermeil. He was there in '80 when the Eagles got to the Super Bowl. In fact, I was just last week at a memorial service for him out of Villanova. He's a Villanova alumni. Dick Vermeil spoke. The guy was well loved, and he really, he was extremely involved with the house until he died. Always there for every fundraiser. Talking about some corporate sponsors, Tyson Chicken, we want to support them. They're really instrumental. They give a lot to the Philadelphia house, a ton. Coca-Cola, huge sponsor, very generous. McDonald's still is involved. Last year, they donated worldwide $278 million, McDonald's. They're in Ronald McDonald Charities based in Chicago. You know, that's from Roundup. I don't really eat there, but Roundup, and they still give a lot of proceeds to the Shamrock Shakes. I don't think, not all the revenue anymore, but they do give a substantial cut for the Shamrock Shakes, so support that when that comes around soon, next year. And I think that's really it. I mean, like I said, this is, I just wanted to give you like a brief overview. Like I said, I love the charity. I'm very passionate about it because I think it really provides a really valuable service to these families. And from what I understand, St. Jude is really big in pediatric care, but they do not provide lodging. We're the only ones that provide free lodging to these families. And again, we need to expand. I mean, that's a big issue. I mean, that's a huge undertaking. They just expanded in 2019. I think they added 90 rooms or something. And like I said, the first house, they've in '81 they bought an old mansion on, like I said, on Chestnut Street. I think that had 28 rooms. Then they expanded. I think it was, like I said, 127. So like 90 rooms, tower. But yeah, like I said, it's sad for me as a volunteer that, you know, they're turning families away. Now, we try to subsidize by giving discounted hotel rates, discounted apartment rates, because you gotta keep in mind, some of these families are there 3 months, 6 months. The average stay is 19 days, that's average. You know, and there's not really a ton of children when you go in the house, because a lot of them are in the hospital. Right, so you know, so you see some children running around, but wouldn't be as much as you think, because a lot of the children are in the hospital. Hence the van service, take these families back and forth. And like I said, proud Philadelphian, the first house, and thank you Eagles, you know, for what they did. Thank you Leonard Toast. He doesn't get enough really credit. I don't know how big Eagles fans you guys are. I was a season ticket holder. Leonard Toast was a character. But he challenged Jimmy Murray. Jimmy raised the money. McDonald stepped up. Then they had a fundraiser. Back then, Leonard Toast's friends, I think it was $500 a plate. They raised a substantial amount of money. Leonard had a lot of influential friends. So it's like, hey, Jimmy, get a party together. Charge $500. Jimmy Murray's like, Jimmy Murray wrote a book, or it's called Life is Inaudible. The guy was what an amazing life. But he just had a knack for raising money.